mamimiss mo talaga yung mga family members mo, yung mga friends mo, mamimiss mo talaga. Pero yung payoff naman nun, kasi makakauwi ka naman di ba? You can always go back. Hi, my name is Louise Lizano and I'm based in Canada. Listen to my story as I talk about my very first time to live and study abroad on My Firsts here on the Female Network. It's my second month here. This is my first try to really migrate, and not my first time to travel out, but my first to migrate on my own to process a student visa. So everything was a first. On top of that being a pandemic pa, complicated everything and added cost to everything because the schools now, syempre, ang dami ng, on top of the tuition fees, you have to consider all the things that you need to pay for. Whatever our plans are, we really have to do our research. While I was still in the Philippines, I really joined so many forums, particularly about students wanting to travel. I would see sa mga forums na, paano po ba mag-apply for student visa? For me, number one is research. You need to know kung ano yung sinasabak mo. You need to know what you're going to be faced with. My current course right now is marketing management. I graduated from UP with a degree in film and audiovisual communication. Most of my career life there in the Philippines was devoted really to media, like producing TV shows, radio shows. Naging talent din sa naging DJ kasi I've been doing voice commercials since I was 2 years old. And that's talagang yun ang kinalakihan ko. So I wanted something new. That's why I took up marketing management para kahit saan ako maibato, whether it's non-profit, whether it's for-profit, or if I were to start my own business, which is actually my long-term goal here, I know how to market my business and how to market myself as a talent here sa Canada. To start from zero was my very main hesitation. If I were in my 20s, I'd be gung-ho and say, let's do this, pansit, ganyan. But it's, when you've established yourself in the industry for quite some time, you've made a name for yourself, and basically Pinas is your comfort zone. I mean, who would want to leave your comfort zone when you have everything fine and dandy and easy peasy? Sa totoo lang, in the middle of a pandemic, fulfilling all the requirements from the school, the government of Canada, it was not easy and it was not cheap. For the application, I got it parang a little over a month after I applied. After submitting everything, of course, you have the IELTS exam, you have your physical exam, you have your application sa school. Of course, kailangan magkaroon ka muna ng application sa school and ma-approve ka nila before you can apply for the temporary residency visa. Hindi talaga Canada yung destination ko, no? Because ang talagang original plan was for me to go to Sweden to be with my mom. Pandemic happened. So parang nagsara si EU sa atin. So parang Canada was there. Canada was the option. So I started my research November 2019. Sumakto na Canada, the Canadian government was sponsoring an education fair. So it's called Edu Canada. So talagang magbabasa ka, as in pupunta ka sa website ng school na kasali doon sa fair. So you're going to look at their courses, ano yung pwede sa'yo, and then titignan mo ano ba yung ino-offer nila sa curriculum nila. What do they have? Do you like it? Titignan mo yung curriculum, does it feed to your plans in the future? That's one consideration. Number two, the province where you'll be at, where you'll be living in. You also have to consider your expenses, like living expenses, your tuition fee, your future in that province. Like, what does the province have for you? Anong plans nila for you? Is it only are you just going to be accepted based on merits or your point system, or do they have other pathways for you? So Yun yung mga things that I had to consider, that I had to think about. So, looking for an apartment is a challenge. Although, pwede ka namang mag-B&B pagdating mo dito. And then when you get here, saka ka hahanap ng apartment. But that's so tiring. Wala akong car. Nung time na yon, wala akong car. You have to take the bus. You're not familiar with the system. So many things you had to take into consideration. You really have to plan it out, of course. Plus, most of the apartments here are bare. So you need to furnish your apartment. It helps to ask, it helps to interview other people, especially those who are in Canada. So, kasi they can give you a perspective na you will not have when you're in the Philippines. Basically, loads of research. You have to do all your research while you are there in the Philippines para when you leave, you're ready. Kumbaga, hindi ka pupunta sa gera nang wala kang dalang armas. Choose the right sources. Look at the government, the Canadian government, or whatever country you want to fly to. Look at their webpage, because for sure, all the information that you need will always be there. So that's the best place to start. After research, you now have to reach out, especially if you do not understand or if you just want current information from, let's say, the school. Kasi when you apply for a student visa, you will submit what you call a statement of purpose. Kasi isang contention about the student visa is should you lie in your student application? When I was able to find that school, I messaged them. I got my approval in 3 days, my letter of acceptance. When I got that letter of acceptance, ayun na, nagtanong na ako sa visa officer kasi syempre you need to know, ano ba talaga? Parang, do I need to lie? Ganyan. Tapos sinabi ng visa officer, just state your purpose because that's what we want. So, ayun, sa awa ng Diyos, everything worked. You need to budget your time, of course, kasi I attended that educational fair ng November. Did everything in my power to be able to get my IELTS and review for the IELTS, syempre, schedule for an IELTS, tapos get that IELTS. After that, schedule ko din yung medical ko. Of course, you need show money, you need to pay for your tuition 1 year in advance. That's their requirement. Read, critical thinking, follow directions. A day in the life is, uupo ako dito. Actually, gigising muna ako, syempre. And then I will be cleaning the pets, I prepare food for them. If I have time, I cook my own food. If wala, hanap na lang tayo ng mga mamamunch on. So I do that quickly. And then I prepare my coffee before I sit down. On Sundays, I go to church. Ang daming Filipino churches dito. Super dami. So mamili ka. Medyo boring ng konti. Walang mga malls. Sinihan, it's up to you. Kaya lang scary, di ba? Thank God for internet. Kasi, I love to do research on what business to start, mga ganyan. So that kind of eats up my time. And of course, my pets. I go out for walks with my dog. Ayun, tas uwi na kami dito. Ganun lang kasimple. I can work part-time. Yun pala. It's a struggle to look for part-time work. May mga sinishare na techniques, Parang I took up a class with a not-for-profit organization called Manitoba Start. Manitoba Start, they really sit down with you and tell you, this is how you format your resume, this is how you do the interview, this is how Canadian workplace is. Very high on their list, on all the company's list, is cultural sensitivity. When you travel, that's one beauty of it, na you really learn how to coexist with somebody who has a different set of beliefs, different set of values, and that's prime here. I've never spoken with somebody from Iran or Kazakhstan for that matter. And that kind of exposure is worth it. It's a test of your adaptability, of your flexibility, of how you how you interact with these people. It's a way to get to know who you are. 'Di ba? In short of, it's testing your metal. What are you made of? Yun. So, yun yung mga natututunan ko dito. I work as a voice talent, and I've been working through the pandemic, praise God, for work. Kahit na I wasn't able to record inside studios, I was able to record inside my home. I was able to do recordings for various like ad agencies and recording studios. Because of that, of course, may mga pumapasok nung pandemic. And as a person din, hindi din kasi ako magastos. Parang I do spend, but I spend wisely. Tapos, dumating din yung time na nag-decide kami ng sister ko to sell a property that our dad left to us. I also sold my condo, but that was like years ahead, way before. I also sold my car. By God's grace, I was able to pay off my car, and I was able to sell it. These things that you have to live with, na of course, kasi doon mo kinukuha yung bread and butter, how else will you transfer funds? Ayun, basically it's all by God's grace. I just wanted to highlight that it's all by God's grace. Na I do not think I'll be able to plan and save for all these things if not for His grace and His provision. Okay siya eh. Yung transition mo hindi ka pilit. Yun kasi yun eh. Hindi ako mapilit na tao. Pag ayaw mo, it's okay. But that's what happened. Parang doors were just opening one after the other. You know? Ganun na. It was talagang alam mo na God wanted me out of the Philippines and wanted me to grow elsewhere. Doon mo marirealize na everything, of course, I have God as a huge factor. Everything that you've gone through since you were young has been in preparation for always the things that are to come. For instance, sa education. Thank God nakapasa ako sa UPCAT. Kasi UP taught me how to be very independent in so many ways. We were, in UP, you are not spoon-fed. And your professors are terror professors. And you go, why on earth are they such terrors? Na parang minsan wala nang dahilan, and I have a terror teacher now. So, kung hindi ko yun na-experience in the past, mga ngatog ako dito sa teacher na to. But thank God for that training or that experience that allowed me to be able to face this. Huwag matakot. Always factor in God. All these things, learn how to be independent, do things on your own. Try to figure out who you are and as a person, kasi along the way you'll find out, and lahat mababalidate or lahat mako-confirm pagdating na dun sa point na talagang aalis ka na. Mamimiss mo talaga yung mga family members mo, yung mga friends mo, mamimiss mo talaga. Pero yung payoff naman nun, kasi makakauwi ka naman, di ba? You can always go back. This one, you just have to keep that in mind. Makakauwi din ako.